Piece movie review. Today we are doing The Sadness, which actually came out last year, but
It's amazing.
after we watched it, we felt like it needed to be addressed.
Definitely.
So this one is done by Canadian filmmaker Rob. How would you say his last name? Jabaz.
Let's go with Jabaz.
Yeah. So it's about a young couple who attempt to make their way back to each other during a virus outbreak. The story takes place in Taiwan, where a mysterious virus causes citizens to transform into sadistic and masochistic creatures who can no longer fight off their most depraved thoughts.
And oh boy, are their thoughts depraved.
I mean, honestly, the first thing we can say about this is that it is like trigger warning. That's the what I can throw out to you initially.
If you back in the day have watched Hostel and thought, man, how can they even get away with this in theaters?
Don't watch this movie.
Boy, you are in for a ride.
It is pretty sick.
There are no holds barred on this one.
It's very gory, which I love about it. The practical effects are just aesthetically pleasing and satisfying. It is very sickening, the sound effects they use, mixed with, it's all practical. I don't believe there was any...
Fantastic.
I don't believe there was any, like, actual, computer effects.
If there was, they did an amazing job on it. I mean, there's times where I'm like, nah, that actor had to got fucked up on that one.
Yeah, seriously.
God damn, did they go off.
The editing is well done.
If I had to compare this to something, I would say this is very similar to 28 Days Later, where they're all infected with literal rage.
Yeah, I think that's a good comparison to the zombie creatures. They're very cognizant, very aware of what's going on.
They are with it 100%. They are. If 28 Days Later they were infected with rage, this one I would say they were infected with fuck you.
Yeah, literally and figuratively. There's a lot of fucking in this movie.
Like,
just to warn you.
I'm telling you, their whole outlook on life is fuck tomorrow, fuck you, fuck this baby, fuck that sidewalk.
Hey, if it's a hole, we're gonna fuck it. And if there isn't.
Like, what's your favorite line from 50 Cent?
If it fit, then I'm gonna make it. Girl, you can take it. Like, don't stop. Get it. Yeah.
Man, I mean, there are villains who are... What's the best way of saying this? You have villains who are very insane in their source material to the point where portraying them on film is cringy.
Yeah.
It's very slapstick. It's very bad.
It's normally very difficult to do.
Such as, what am I trying to say? Woody Harrelson in Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage.
Oh, yeah. Carnage is a perfect character to compare to because his character is very much maniacal, and I don't think it was tapped upon very well live action-wise.
Yeah, I mean, there's... And Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Also very cringy. Very cringy. Like, how can you even... go back into your repertoire, into your resume, and claim that you did that.
That's fair.
But there's this man in this movie.
The main antagonist of it.
And oh my God.
I honestly can't even say his name. It's like Chu Chang Wang or something like Chang Wang. But he plays the businessman. And so the two main characters, the boyfriend and the girlfriend, it's mostly about the girlfriend, I would say. Like, I feel like she's the main person they focus on in the movie. And the businessman meets her on a train. It's in the trailer. They show you in the trailer him talking to her. And their interaction is very awkward and uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable from the beginning before the virus is actually taking place.
You will be sitting next to your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend of years on the couch. And this conversation will start in the most innocent way possible, and you will feel very uncomfortable around the person you're next to. That's how good this fucking guy played this role.
Yeah, in all honesty, like, I didn't want him to catch up with me. It's hard to, I don't feel like it's easy for me to be, like, scared or, like, disturbed by a movie. And this one did kind of fuck me up a little bit. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, they did this? But I loved it. I am 100%, this was a solid for me. very well done, very tasteful in how disrespectful it was.
There is a scene in there that's a perfect example of why you should leave people the hell alone no matter what situation you see them in. Because when you get to that basketball court, oh, Lord.
That part is fucking nuts. You already know my favorite part of the whole movie. Whenever the businessman catches up to one of his victims and just violates her to the,
to the extent of humanity and past that.
For me, I think that this is a great example of how, the minimum is tells a story either way. Like, you don't have to show something happening. Oh, fireworks.
Fireworks.
4th of July, always.
This is America.
So you don't have to show something happening on screen for it to be impactful.
True.
And I think that's something that people don't keep nowadays in their filmmaking. Like, for example, like Cuties, they did way too much in that when it came to the angles they used and the close-ups they used. They could have told a story very well and violated somebody in a way and not even put it on film necessarily. This film is a perfect example of you can disturb somebody with telling a story without showing it. Definitely. And my favorite scene, my favorite violation of the whole movie is exactly that. It is fucking horrible, yo.
You are a broken individual.
I know, it's so bad, yo.
That scene was impactful.
It hurt my feelings and I loved it.
God, it hurt my eyes.
It hurt everyone's eyes.
And look, I am a connoisseur of the macabre. I love gory, just disrespectful movies. I sat through Mad God. That was boring as shit. It was just somebody trying to gross you out with claymation. They can do it, but what they did here in the sadness with live action people in latex, oh, Jesus.
It was well done. I mean,
the most disturbing part about this is this can happen tomorrow.
Yeah. The storyline very much is like not so far-fetched that it's not unbelievable, and the way that we feel about human beings as it is now, I don't think it's a far-fetched. It feels real. It feels like something that could happen to you, and that makes it even more disturbing to me.
Like, you will sit there and watch a Jason or a Friday the 13th or a Nightmare on Elm Street, and you'll see some far out stuff. You'll see a meatball poke somebody in the eye with a glove with scissors on them.
Yeah, those movies are fun.
And here, you will see something that you can do right now in your kitchen, and please do not do it.
Yeah, definitely.
But man, does it look like you can, and Jesus Lord. Again, I don't see how these actors went home sane.
Yeah.
After all of this.
I definitely feel like it should have been like a Heath Ledger moment where they just went too far with their acting, but
that comment is too far.
Oh,
too
sorry.
No,
it's not. I mean, it is, but it isn't. You know how much I love Heath Ledger. But no, realistically, like for me, this was an ace. The acting was
superb.
Was really well done. The graphics were insane. The story wasn't. I feel like the only place where they might have dropped the ball was the storyline. That was kind of where I had an issue with it, because there were some parts that didn't line up for me when it came to using using an app in the phone. Like, they just went back and forth between how things, I don't know. The story wasn't that great, but it didn't detract from the shock value of the film, and it didn't make it so I would never watch it again. That's for sure.
So 1 to 10, what would you give it?
It was a solid 9 for me, easily. It's hard for a movie to shock me these days. I feel like people try to do it all the time or be scary, and it's very difficult to impress me when it comes to horror, and this one was a knock out of the park. I don't recommend, if you are not a horror person, don't watch this movie. It's not for you. It really is pretty fucking sick. We're not exaggerating or trying to get people to watch this. I'm telling you, I don't want people to get disgusted or upset by the movie. It's very rapey, very it's very depraved and very sick and very gory and very violent.
I'm going to piggyback off of what you said and say, if you think you like horror movies, and the first horror movie franchise that comes to your mind is The Conjuring or
Yeah.
stuff like that. No.
Don't
You
do
are not
it.
ready for this. You are not of the ilk.
This is
to
definitely like
watch this.
Bloody Mary. Dogs don't wear pants. Like on the lines of people who are seeking out violence when it comes to sexual interactions. If you can't handle violence and sex together, please don't watch this movie. It's not for you. If it's something that won't bother you and you love horror, go for it. It's a great movie. Storytelling done well, graphics great, shocking, gross, disgusting. But I don't want anyone to be like, traumatized by it because it's a lot.
For me, I'm not going to harp too badly on the storyline. What you need, everything that was in there was just a vehicle to push the movie along onto the next freak you out scene.
I mean, definitely.
And I think it did it masterfully. Again, what you're talking about with the phone and stuff like that, you're like, well, what the hell? Before I can delve too deep into that thought, something wild happens.
That's fair.
So
yeah. You didn't have time.
So it's the girls tripping over her feet, running away from Jason vehicle that just pushes the thing forward. That's what it was, and I'm not going to get mad at that. But there was no bad acting at all, and this isn't the situation of, well, they were speaking a different language. How can you feel that they said this or that? No.
Yeah, you feel it.
They did their goddamn job, and they did it well. We've seen bad Korean actors. We've seen bad Taiwanese actors. We've seen bad acting from across the globe. That was not in here. Again, especially the businessman. My Lord. He alone.
Is Nightmare Fuel? Yeah.
And again, he looks like your gym teacher.
He does, he's just somebody you would just meet up normally, and that's the scariest part about it is he's just like a regular dude with regular incel thoughts.
Like, yeah, he's just your run-of-the-mill man. These are people you can see every day.
Yeah.
So for the aesthetics, for the story, for the acting, I'm also going to go with a solid 9 on this.
Which is a difficult rating for you.
Difficult. I don't like doing that. I don't. Again, honestly, the storyline, I would say, is just a race from start to finish. You don't need he's sleeping with his wife's sister.
No, they could have gave us anything.
Who also owns a business. Like, you don't need any of that for what's going on.
Yeah.
Everything that you need to know is being told right there at the beginning of the movie through, like, a teleprompter or TV, radio, stuff like that. Everything you need to know is being said.
It's pretty standard Contagion, virus movie. It's very zombie virus movie formula, but it does it better and different than you've seen in most vehicles. That's just the truth of it.
Definitely. I'm just going to close this out by saying this is definitely a trigger warning. Do not see this if you are queasy. If you can't sit through Terrifier, you're not going to be able to sit through this.
Yeah, if Human Centipede was too much, just don't do it, bro.
Yeah, this is far beyond that. So, do we have anything else that we want to cover on the sadness?
I wouldn't say so. I would say, it's definitely a good horror flick. Watch it if you dare. But it was a favorite of ours for sure. And
Definitely.
thank you for tuning in. Again, this has been Diana and Nick for another Mouthpiece Movie Review.
Stay dangerous, people.